to the Amanda Hall Psychic mini workshop series. We're up to workshop number 17. My, how the weeks have been flying. I know I say that every week, but it just seems like only yesterday we started that. So while we're waiting for people to sort of join us on this very live, interactive sort of workshop, I will say one thing to you before we start. I do not, under any circumstances here on the mini workshop series, do we offer free readings. I do that on my previous show on A1R Psychic Radio out of the US of A, where I do offer a couple of free readings on that, but we don't do it here on the mini workshop series. This is truly about education. I really love to teach. It's something that I've been passionate about for the last 40 odd years that I've been in the industry, and I've been teaching close on 37 or 38 years of my psychic career. So it is something that I really, really, really love to do. And it's something that I want everybody to fully understand, that this is an educational section. It's a section where you can come in, chill out, watch the replay, whatever the case may be, and hopefully learn a little bit more about what's going on in the universe, how this affects you and why it affects you. So welcome to everybody. I won't read out names and say hi to this one and that one, because I'm going to be a very good girl and just focus on the camera. If you leave me a message, even if it's just a simple hello, I will get back to you personally in the next 24 hours and say hi to you. So let's welcome everybody again. My name's Amanda Hall Psychic. I've been in the industry over 40 years in Australia. I've been inducted into the Psychic Hall of Fame, and I've won Psychic of the Year for the 4th year in a row. I've been fortunate enough to work with tarot most of my working career, and I've also been very fortunate enough to work with a publisher here in Australia called Hinkler Books, and we have 3 amazing products out in the marketplace. 2 of them now are out of print, Simply Tarot with the DVD and Simply Tarot the limited edition, about now both out of print and rare collector's items. We still have a couple left in stock that we're able to sell in our store. But our third and current project is called Secrets of Tarot, which you'll also find in our store for anybody that wants to learn tarot. This is where I suggest you start, because the cards have got little basic meaning on the bottom of the card, which helps you learn. They are set out in lesson formats. You can follow with the book. It is set out for you to learn, but for those of you that want sort of more private tuition, I do actually offer courses that are one-on-one, that we work with video Skype, and you have the opportunity of my personal tuition for an hour to 2 hours in a private lesson over a period of a number of lessons. So you have 6 months to complete the course, but that's just sort of if you wanted to learn tarot. We're not here to talk about tarot today, actually. We're actually here to talk about the sun in Gemini today. Now, for those of you that sort of say, oh, well, I'm not a Gemini, so I need to tune out. Well, no, you don't need to tune out. You need to learn. We're all here to learn and understand our fellow man. I'm sure there isn't a person that's watching today that doesn't know a Gemini. They're either married to one, new one, got a brother or a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a mother, a father, a teacher, somebody they like or dislike as a Gemini. So if you can learn to understand a little bit more about the Gemini energy and what we are all responsible for as the sun moves its way around the zodiac during the year, this is when we start to look at different areas of our lives. And just because the sun is in Gemini, it doesn't mean we're going to run into everybody that's under the sign of Gemini. What it means is we're going to bring in some of those Gemini qualities that I'm going to talk about, and they will start to affect us no matter what star sign we are. So Gemini is the sign of the twins. It is an air sign, and it is a mutable sign. So what we mean by a mutable sign is it's flexible. It can go up and down. It can sort of, it's not fixed. It's not rigid. It's not something that sort of says, okay, I need to be, you know, really bossy, or I need to be really fixed, or I need to be very me first. It's sort of like I can be me first, and then I can look at you. I can be very dual. I can be very flexible. At the same time, I can be a little bit active. I like to jump around the place. I don't like to be in one place for too long. So the sign of the twins sometimes gets a bad rap, because people sort of say, oh, you never know which twin you're dealing with, the evil twin or the good twin. Well, that can be said about any sign. It's not just necessarily Gemini. I mean, we all have a good side and a bad side to us, no matter what star sign we are. But the sign of Gemini to me is of great ideas. It's about communication. It's about flexibility. It's about talking. It's about all forms of communication, whether it's iPads, iPods, telephones, text messages, fax messages, whatever. It's about any form of communication. And it's also about being clear with our communication. Sometimes Geminis aren't known for necessarily being able to sit there long enough to explain the whole story to you. They like to give it to you in shorthand form and hope you'll catch up, and bad luck if you don't. They're on to the next thing. So you quite often find Gemini people are very fast talking people. But you also find a lot of Geminis working in industries, strangely enough, connected to communication, like television reporters, news readers, people that are journalists that work on newspapers and radios and things like that come under the sign of Gemini. And, you know, probably one of the most famous Geminis I can think of here in Australia, and I love to share this story with you, was Brian Bury, that used to do the weather on the Channel 9 morning show many, many years ago. And he'd have this weather map, and he'd have the little bloody animals there, and he'd know what the weather was going to be in Thargomindah, and he'd know that they were having a tea party over in Cowra, and, you know, up in the top end they were having a corroboree, and they were having this barn dance over there and that. And he just knew everything. It was sort of like he was in everybody's local backyard and knew all the gossip that was going on around the place, and who was doing what, and who was having the birthday party and the picnic and what they were fundraising for. And he actually made the weather fun, that people actually used to tune in just to see him talk about where, you know, who was doing what around the nation, as if we'd turned into a nation of sticky beaks wanting to know everybody else's business. And he made it such fun in that way that people used to watch the show purely just for that. I don't think they watched it for the rest of the content, but for Brian and doing the weather, and maybe their little town or community would get a mention. So that's just, you know, just showing it to you in its liveness of how Gemini can sort of work. So the Gemini energy is about changeability or being flexible. It's also about ideas. It's also about communication. Because it's an air sign, sometimes it can get the rap of not being very emotional or not being able to really understand feelings and emotions. Now, that may be true, because feelings and emotions can come in many different ways. We automatically think of feelings and emotions as something that we feel in the pit of our stomach, that I feel uncomfortable, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel this, I feel that, and it's my gut feeling. And you hear a lot of people talk about a gut feeling. For a Gemini, it's not a gut feeling, it's a head feeling. It's I know. I just know that's going to happen. How do you know? Well, I just know. And it's that they have a gut feeling in their head. They have a knowing. They have an understanding. They have a feeling in their mind, not in their tummy. So don't rule out the fact that they're unemotional. They're not unemotional. They're just not gushy or saying I've got this feeling in my bones or my water or whatever. It's just I know. I just know it's going to happen. How do you know? I just know. It's somebody's put the thought bubble in their head. That's what they know, and that's what they know. So next time you're working with a Gemini, make allowances for that. That their mind works so fast that sometimes their hand can't catch up with it to take notes or put it down on paper or put it onto a computer screen, because their mind is just moving so fast like a computer hard drive that it's compiling and filing all this information, that they're just so fast moving that they're on to the next subject. Geminis are also not known for their ability to commit, because they're always liking to keep the door open in case there may be a better opportunity or something else that may come on. So if you're inviting a Gemini to a weekend gathering and you think, oh, you know, I'm not going to know whether they're coming until Saturday afternoon, make allowances for that, because they have to keep their diary open just in case something better comes up that they might need to attend, or something that they might want to attend to, or something that they feel that's important to their career or their goal path. It's not that they're blowing you off. It's just that's who they are. They don't like to commit until the last minute. They like to have their options open and then make a choice. So if we were going to work with the energy of the Gemini energy, and you're not a Gemini, and even if you are a Gemini, you can apply the same principle, how would we go about it? This is a time of great ideas, of opportunities, of times to get new ideas and to be really snap of the fingers, changing our mind, looking at different things. If you're self-employed, if you're in business, if you're looking to bring in some new opportunities in the business, this is the perfect time to start writing a list about the things that you might like to bring into the business in the next 6 to 12 months. And it could be something as simple as putting down number 1 on the list, I'm open to new suggestions. I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to new contracts. I'm open to new directions. Because sometimes it's not always the ideas that we have. It can be the ideas or the thoughts that come from somebody else's conversation, or somebody's mentioning something to us in passing that actually sparks an idea. It's also the time, if we're working with contracts or we're going into important meetings, make sure that there's some sort of recording of what's said. Make sure that it's documented in paper, so that if we do hit a snag, that we can go back to it and say, but hang on a minute, that day when we had the meeting, I took notes, this was point number 3B, you said this, we agreed on that, and here it is in black and white. Just let me refresh your memory. So it's always a good idea, if something's really important, if you're giving a quote on something, make sure it is in paper and that there is other clauses or other annexes to the bottom that if we go over or if there's more manpower needed or whatever, this will be the cost, so that everybody knows, everybody agrees to it, everybody signs off on it. Because at this time, people can be in the meeting, they're saying yes, 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 they understand, they've heard everything, we've covered everything, but they've really only focused on the things that were important to them and may not have really paid attention to the intricate little details. So we need to be very careful and very aware of that. It's a very high energy time. It's a time when our energy seems very restless. Sometimes we say things that we don't mean. We can get verbal diarrhea. We can throw things out there that we didn't mean to say, and then we don't know how to retract it because we've already said it. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I've got to go along with it because I've already said it. Look, sometimes we've just got to turn around and be grown-ups and say, hey, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. This should have been something that I should have looked at, or maybe not said it in that way. This is, I know what I said and it came out wrong. Please accept my apology. This is what I meant to say. Can we work through the issue? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you've set the wheels in motion with the evil twin, and sometimes it can't be retracted or fixed in some way. But bear in mind, it's a time to be very, very flexible. Things will seemingly change with the wind, and it's not something that you can anchor very much down at the moment. This will go through till the 22nd of this month approximately. If you work on the score that the sun goes into the new energy somewhere between the 16th and the 22nd, I always sort of like to round it off to the 22nd of the month. That way then you sort of got a benchmark to work with. You can always ask an astrologer to look up your birth date for you if you're around that time of the year of between the 16th and the 22nd of the month, to know exactly what day the sun went into the sign where your sun sign is. So if we were going to be working with this, we'd be writing our little list, we'd be getting it ready to put it underneath our candle. So our candle of the week is obviously our air sign candle, which is the Gemini candle. It's the Gemini, Libra and Aquarian candle. So we would write our list. We would always put our candle on a coaster. We never ever put a candle directly on furniture or a cupboard, because the glass container itself can get very hot. And sometimes when they get very hot, they can crack. So if you put them on a coaster, you've got less chance of them cracking. So I suggest that you write your list, put it directly underneath the candle, put that, then put, it goes between the candle and the coaster going on the table. Then you go to light the candle. My suggestion is with these candles, they have 2 wicks. My suggestion is light one side today, then tomorrow light the next side. So you burn them between 15 minutes to 2 hours every day with your list. You'll get approximately, I can get up to 100 hours out of these candles by burning alternate sides of the wick. If you burn 2 sides of the wick, you'll probably only get close to 60 hours. So it's entirely up to you, but particularly at the moment with the change in temperature, I would be still only lighting one side of the candle. Pardon me. For those of you that are going travelling, we have our travel kit. These are obviously 3 air sign candles, but you can choose any 3 of the 28 in our candle range. You don't have to pick all the air sign candles. Pardon me, I've got a little bit of a tickle in my throat today. So they will burn for approximately 15 hours each. Same rules apply. Burning them, putting them on a coaster. Don't leave them unattended, of course. Pardon me, under air conditioning around dogs and pets and children. It is a flame, it is fire, so be very, very careful with them and make sure that you put them out before you leave the room. Okay, for those of you that don't want to do that, you can pick up a wax melt warmer from the supermarket under $20. These are electric. These have a little button on the side that you turn it on and off with. You can take half a teaspoon of wax out of your candle and put that in the wax melt warmer. Or you can alternatively, when you've burnt your candle, if you've got some wax left over, you can use that in your melt warmer. I quite often use these more so than I do candles, because I can put it on a coaster. I can still write my list, I can fire it up, and I can leave it going all day. And for those of you that are fairly busy, whether you're at home or in the office, this may be a great alternative. It waffles all through the house and the office. It smells beautiful, and you've got the full intent of, as you've read out your affirmation or your list of a morning, and you fire up your wax melt warmer, you've done that, and you're really sort of setting the intent, purpose and direction really, really seriously. So that's another way of looking at it. So for those of you that may want to make a purchase of some candles or some tarot sets, when you head to my website, amandahallpsychic.com.au. Don't forget in the coupon box in capital letters to type in the word Facebook, and you will get a slight discount there for it. We do offer free postage here in Australia, but for our overseas family, we have to say that we can't offer you free postage. We do offer a flat fee. So my suggestion is save up your pennies for everything that you might want and order it in one go. And that way, then it doesn't matter how much you purchase, it'll all be covered by that flat fee and posted anywhere into the world. So we have, lots of exciting things happening over the next few weeks at Amanda Hall Psychic. For those of you that don't know, I'm participating in a weekend market here on Facebook on Monday. So if you want to head over to my page, you'll find more information there. There's a couple of free tickets left to go to the market. It's not just to be able to purchase things from my web store. There's lots of freebies and lots of interesting products that are handmade, that are made here in Australia from lots of amazing women. So Monday's the day for that. But we also have, other things that are happening throughout the time. If you haven't done so already and you'd like to get your hands on a free astrology chart, might I suggest to head to our website, sign up for our newsletter. We're happy to send you your very, very free astrology chart of your very own. You're under no obligation to stay with us, but of course we'd love to have you stay with us and participate in our, I send out a weekly newsletter and I send out a little reminder about what's coming up on the show. And from time to time we have special offers just purely for our psychic family that will be exclusive to you, that won't be offered to anyone else. So it's a good place to catch up. I do write a weekly blog, also talking about what I've spoken about on my previous show on A1R Psychic Radio, plus a little bit of extra information. That's usually live about Thursday, as I get the opportunity to upload today's shows on there so that they're in the blog as well. The card of the week that I talked about on my previous show. For those of you that might be looking to get a reading, by all means, head to the website, type in the word Facebook. You will get a discount off the price of a reading. I do not offer free readings on this show. We do a couple of free readings on my previous show, which is A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV, which is at 12 noon Australian Eastern Standard Time out of the US, out of the Washington District. And it is a weekly show that I have there where we talk about other things. We have famous singers and we do a little bit of astrology and we do a card of the week and the candle of the week and we take a couple of calls. So that's another option that you've got. On next week's show, we will be featuring, our workshop will be on the new moon in Gemini. So how do we work with the new moon? What do we need to do to get ready for it? And how can we best harness that energy of the new moon? So it's really been great to work with you all again. I'm really enjoying working with each and every one of you. And each week I say the same thing. If you have a suggestion for an area of psychic work that you would like me to cover in a mini workshop, I'm happy to look at it. I've had a few suggestions, and to those people, then you know who you are. I have taken it on board, and yes, they will be coming up I will weave them into workshops in the coming months. So just stay tuned. For those of you that this might be your very first time that you've happened to trip across this workshop, we do have a page set up. It's in the blurb there where you can go back and catch up and binge watch all the previous shows on A1R Psychic Radio and all my previous workshops. We don't always have the luxury of time to join me here on a Wednesday afternoon. I know everybody's busy. I know I am. Wednesday's sort of my really super busy day here of the week. And I'm pleased to say it's one of my favourite days of the week too, because I get to connect with all of you. So if you have any questions about, what you'd like to see coming up on the workshop, I'd be happy to answer them, look at the topic and hopefully incorporate it into coming workshops. It is a great pleasure and a great honour for me to be able to be here with you week after week. And I really thank everybody from the bottom of my heart that's been sending me messages and saying that they really are learning a lot. It's amazing. Thank you for giving up your time, Amanda. Look, it's something that I do willingly. I love to teach. I've always loved to teach. And I believe it's our responsibility to give a little bit back to the people that support us week in, week out, year in, year out. And it's not always about money. And for those of you that know me, they know that very, very well. If you don't have candles, and you can't afford my candles, any candle that you've got will do the same thing. The only difference with these is that they have been infused with that intent of what the energy is for, that we did a lot of research, a lot of planning went into them, the colour, the smell, the fragrance, and infusing them with the intent, purpose and direction. But I appreciate not everybody has a budget that can afford the luxury of a soy candle. And if not, use your household grade candles. Use what you've got around the house first, but make sure that you really, really focus on what it is that you want to bring in. Now, one more thing just before we do wrap up for this week. For those of you that do know me, you know I'm a huge John Edward fan. I always have been. I think the man is absolutely, utterly amazing. If you ever get the opportunity and you can save up your pennies to go and see one of his shows, it is certainly money well spent. You will walk out of there feeling uplifted and like you're walking on air. I'm going again later in the year, but for those of you that can't go, John is actually offering a series of free events here on Facebook. If you head to my page, you'll find the link, or if you type in The Psychic John Edward, they will be free new television shows here on Facebook. They're not live Facebook feeds as such, but they are actual mini television shows that Facebook is trialing some new TV shows that they're putting together, and John's actually one of the first people that's going to be working on this concept. I think the first one starts tomorrow here on Facebook, if my memory serves me correctly. So please just check it out. It's all free, and it's going to be amazing to see John back on our television screens here on Facebook, and I do wish him well. He's an absolutely amazing guy, and he is so generous with his time and how much that he does for the community. And, you know, if you really want to become a part of the John Edward world, head to his website, johnedward.net. And, you know, check out becoming a member of the Evolve family. I have been for many, many years, and it's a nice place to go to chill and make connection with other people and other like-minded souls around the world. It's always nice to be part of a family. Anyway, until next week, have a great week and keep smiling. Bye for now.